Hello hero, it's Lucy Lannon with a quickie about whatever you need to know right now. We've got a Queen of Cups coming out first. That could be you, it could be someone you're interested in, it could be something else altogether. Let's have a look. An Empress, so I do get the feeling that we're talking about a feminine at the moment. Feminine just means like the more passive party in the situation. It can be any gender, but this is someone who's very in touch with their emotions. It's someone who's quite materially abundant, or who kind of always seems all right no matter what's going on. Somebody who's always kind of very in charge of their own life and very, I want to say prolific, like creatively or spiritually. They're very sort of productive, even if the world is crumbling around them, kind of thing. Five of Cups is happening, so some kind of grief or loss of, you might have lost this person for some of you. You might be missing someone. I think that's what's coming through. And a Knight of Swords. You want to communicate really fast, right? Yeah. Okay, so this is about a decision of whether to speak to somebody that you feel you've lost, or you feel is sort of drifting away from you in some way, right? You've got less access to speaking to them than you used to have, and there's some kind of grief over it, or sadness, or there's focusing on the fact that you haven't spoken in a while rather than focusing on the bond that you had. Tower. This may have come after a moment of crisis, and we've got a Seven of Swords, so there may have been some kind of deception involved. It's difficult to really match that figure to either character, so the deception could have been on either side, but it's very much like there was a bit of a sort of sneakiness or a betrayal, and then there was a big moment where it kind of all ended, and now you're coming to the point where it's like, should I reach out to, I'm going to say her for the purposes of the reading, but you do you. Should I reach out to her? Is this the right time? So what's the guidance on that? Six of Swords. First, distract yourself, right? I think you're too like in the headspace of, this is a lot. And there needs to be some kind of like moving away from it to just do something else for a while. So if you've got hobbies that are completely unrelated to this person, or you've got somewhere you can be that is not in itself damaging and is not around influential people to the scenario, shall we say, do that for a bit. Oof. Sorry. There may be like ambiently some stuff that is clogging up the airwaves, because I had to turn that off. Something that is affecting your senses, or indeed is a sensuous experience that is like getting in the way of you making clear decisions about this. Then we've got an Emperor. That's the counterpart to the Empress. So I do feel like in whatever dynamic with this feminine, you were very equally matched, and they would want to hear from you. But you need to step away first and just kind of sit with it, particularly because this is a wheelchair bound figure, and you know, as an ex-wheelchair user, I feel confident reading that as like, take a seat, right? Just kind of chill out in the back for a while. It's like, there's also like, it's coming through as like ambulatory wheelchair use, as in someone who can get in and out of the chair and function sort of in a normal way, right? I can't turn that off. There's something in your environment that you're not able to like stop. Yeah, so the ambulatory wheelchair thing is making me think of like someone who needs to take that seat, but maybe the people around them have the perception that they don't need to use it, because it's like, well, we've seen you walk. Or maybe it's the other way, and it's like they're using that seat, they're using that pause, they're using a little bit of time where they step back from the situation and sit with themselves, and other people are like, but you can just go, you like you don't need to be doing this. And both of those are misconceptions. You need to sit back from the situation when it's appropriate. You need to also move when it's appropriate. This is about you. It's not about the opinions of the other people around you and whether they think you should chase something off, right? Six of Pentacles, there needs to be a kind of reciprocity here, and I think that's the thing that you're being encouraged to measure when you do take a minute out. Notice this is still going, right? This other influence. And the Nine of Pentacles. I think there is a fear here that this other person is kind of so independent that they're fine without you. But there is also, because there's a drone in the background, there's like a temptation to spy on them, maybe digitally. And like, oh, but are they okay though? Because I'm not okay. And if we're counterparts, then maybe they're not okay. So are they? It's my question. Nine of Cups. I think they're doing all right. I think they've got themselves to where they need to be in life. That doesn't mean they don't miss you. So do they, like, how do they feel, right? The Ace of Wands. I think they do want action in the situation, but I also think that you need to get to a place where it doesn't disturb you if they're doing all right. Like if you come back to them and they're kind of doing okay for themselves and they're a bit surprised by the fact that you've showed up and they're like, oh yeah, I was just doing this. And meanwhile, a lot for you hinges on whether they're in contact with you at all. I think that could be a little bit jarring from your perspective because you're like, oh, well, are you just fine without me? I don't think that it's not as simple as that. It's that they're fine because they're the sort of person who self-regulates very easily and gets back on their feet very easily. It doesn't mean that they're fine without you as a person. It just means that they got themselves together in the time that's been the interim. But again, with this Ace of Wands, they do want some kind of action, some kind of difference. They do want to hear from you in some fashion. It's just that they are kind of sitting pretty regardless. I think this comes down to, like, if you approach them, that's great, and they've been hoping for that. But if you don't, they're not going to let it ruin their world, because I think at one time a lot hinged on other people for them, and they've become the sort of person where that's not the case. So what do you do? Once you've taken this pause, once you've sat with the facts of the situation, once you've acclimatized to the idea that they might be more fine than you, you make your offer, Ace of Pentacles, right? You do come forward, you do say, hey, how you been doing? And I think you balance within yourself whatever emotional reactions you have to however that might go, right? Be prepared for all eventualities, including you feeling a little bit embarrassed by the fact that they're maybe doing all right and you didn't expect that because it's affected you a lot. Three of Swords, again, it's affected you a lot, right? I think maybe you feel heartbroken about what went on. And if they're doing okay in a sort of external way, it doesn't mean that they don't feel that way. It's just that they're maybe managing it in a slightly different fashion. Or maybe they've gone through this period of heartbreak and come through the other side. And for you, there might have been like a delayed or avoidant response where it's kind of, you were more immediately okay, so now you're really feeling the effects. I'm getting confirmation hiccups. Excuse me. So it's kind of like, it's not that anybody on either side is feeling any less. And again, we've got counterpart energy, so you're kind of on a level with each other. It's more that like they did their grieving and then started to build their life really well. Whereas you went straight to building your life really well. And now you're kind of at the stage where you're doing your grieving and maybe going, oh, maybe it wasn't for the best that all of this happened and we parted ways. But I think your misconception, which is, you know, being addressed by the reading, is that if they seem to be doing fine, they are fine without you and don't value you. And I think that's really not accurate. Yeah. Nine of Swords, don't let this sort of, oh no, what might happen, paralyze you. Just do it. Just go for it. I think take the time that you need to fully assess it in an intellectual way, because we've got swords, and do that sitting back and that sort of like acknowledging for yourself what your part in it all was and what their part in it was and all the outcomes that could happen in terms of where their life's at. But then once you've reached that point, know that they do want to hear from you and move forward, because it's only through doing that that you're going to be able to emotionally move forward and sleep at night, right? Yeah. 10 of Wands, this is a burden on you. That's not the reason to get back in touch. I think you need to bear their welfare in mind almost more than your own. But I think that you know that once you've had that conversation, however it goes, there's going to be less weight on your shoulders. There's going to be a bit of a resolution for you, because a 10 is a number of endings as well. Anything else? Okay, so we've got a 7 of Cups and a 7 of Pentacles. When you're doing this reflecting, don't let the idea of all the possible outcomes stop you from taking material action. Yeah. Good luck.